Psycho 4081 back for Unfiltered with Psycho 4081. And this is part 2 of our episode on fathers. So we talked earlier in episode 1 about appreciation, accountability, and hard truths. We talked about are fathers essential or merely helpful? We talked about the fatherlessness crisis. And today we're going to go into the whole thing surrounding the courts. So stay tuned.
Are you ready for some controversy? Yeah. Are you ready for some fun? Yeah. Yeah. Are you ready for some laughs? Yeah. Let's get unfiltered with Psycho 4081.
She sound like India.Arie.
Okay. Today, part 2 of our Father's Day feature. Father's Day appreciation, accountability, and hard truths. Now, this is more or less the hard truth. We're going to talk about our fathers being treated fairly in family court. So, give you some background. Many fathers believe family courts favor mothers in custody and support decisions. Others argue courts simply follow the child's best interest. So, we're going to talk about that, and I have some really interesting questions. Well, I have some questions. I want to hear some of these responses in that regard. So, thank you guys for joining us. My question to you guys, do family courts discriminate against fathers? Now, you may not be able to answer that. So you can
Yes.
you could go on, but you can go on what you heard or what you've seen or what you experienced. So we're gonna kick this off with Kendall.
Yes.
So you think family courts discriminate against fathers?
Yeah, I do.
Give me an example.
But I feel like, okay, so, am I, this is opinionated, like, because I feel like
It's all opinion.
society,
Yes.
I know, a lot of society standards kind of go into court. So, like, I feel like fathers, actually men in general, but, for fathers, if you're talking about an absent father, you know what I'm saying? And it's like who should get custody or X, Y, and Z. Most likely, automatically, before anything happens, the court is going to lean towards the woman. Automatically, okay? Automatically, because women are known to be nurturers, are known to be, like people who give, love and affection. You know what I'm saying? So automatically, they have that grace.
Okay.
Until proven otherwise. Even like that's not how it should be, but that's how it is, in my opinion.
I will agree. I will agree with that. To add on to that, I think traditionally, when you had broken families, it was usually the man ran off, did whatever.
Dad grabbing the milk, you know what I'm saying? Like that is already like
Exactly. So I think traditionally the whole thing about child support came because of that. We had men who wouldn't do what they were supposed to do, and back then, women didn't have jobs. They weren't in the workplace. They didn't have those rights that they enjoy today. Even wasn't that long ago where women couldn't actually get a credit card without the permission of their husband, right? So, or even apply for mortgages, a whole bunch of stuff they couldn't do unless they had the permission of their husband. So, when it comes to courts today, yeah, I think there's some courts that continue that discrimination against fathers, and but I know in Maryland specifically, it was some years ago. I guess maybe I'm gonna say 5 years ago, and it's not exact, but somewhere about 5 years ago, they had a law that automatically gave custody of the children to 50-50 custody, but for the two parents. So automatically, in the past, you went in there and you had to, as a father, you had to prove why you should get custody of your kids, or even joint custody, or whatever, or visitation. Maryland changed a law maybe a few years ago that said automatically a male father and a mother gets 50-50 custody, which I thought was a beautiful thing. Now, what comes with that is if one parent, male or female, could prove that the other parent was unfit or wasn't capable of, doing the child justice, then obviously it would slant to the other parent. Now, where it gets into um the child's best interest thing. I That's the part I never really liked. Um, and I'm not gonna say I didn't like it. I think it's very hard to determine what's in the child's best interest. You look at it, whether um, they're better. They were in a, don't say the mother lives in this particular area, so there's better schools there. The father lives in this area. The schools aren't as good as the other one. Is that still fair? Probably not. But is it the best interest of the kids to go to a place where they can go have better schools? Yes. But again, somebody's going to get shortchanged off of that. Not to saying that they couldn't thrive with these other schools, but those are some of the things that the court would probably weigh in on. And I never been through that. Because when I went through mine, I went and got 50-50. We got 50-50 custody, 50-50 everything. It was right down the middle because no way you can justify or articulate either that I could not have my children, or I could not, or I was a bad influence on my children, or I didn't have them in the best setup. I made sure of that. So for me, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I think generally in most courts, I'm going to separate Maryland's court because I know they made that law. But yeah, most of them will discriminate against the father and automatically give custody to the mother. I think you should have to prove whether you cannot support or have a child if you're going to get basically screwed out of that. So yeah. What do you say, Dimitri? Now, mind you, I know you've never been in a court for that, have you?
No.
Okay.
Um,
So I guess
I think I,
you can go
that
on
would
the
be hard.
yeah, but you can go on from
Yeah.
what you heard. Like I know everybody has have a friend that's been through the court systems when it comes to child custody and stuff like that. Visitations, everybody.
I would, right. So I would say honestly, me answering it from the outside would say y'all nailed it. It's flunked towards the woman. Uh, More as far as the when it comes to like what you say discriminate on the males
Yeah, do they get discriminated against fathers?
the fathers or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, because like I said something earlier, and I hate to keep bringing this up, but you got a lot of males out there that have make babies and then run away. They're used to seeing that. They used to having that being a picture painted on us. Um, and even our culture. This also happens with white cultures and different cultures also.
Right.
It's just that whole picture of the man making baby and run.
Right.
It's a it's a big it's a big push towards them, shifting to the females.
Right. So
Like far as like
all you worthless fathers out there,
Yo,
have made it hard on those fathers who actually were doing what they're supposed to or going, above and beyond what they have to do for their children. So yeah, I was about to curse, but I'm not. Yeah, all you deadbeat dads, and I'm not talking about when I say deadbeat dads, I'm not talking about the ones who have issues that with the woman and and they playing the games and all that other type of stuff. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the guys who should be able to go in there and do what they're supposed to do with their kids and support their kids and don't. The ones who go out there and have kids and then next thing you know, kid after kid after kid after kid, and you ain't never been in their life and you out
because
here
you're
doing
messing it up for the dads who actually care about their
exactly.
kids and
Exactly.
want, you know.
So let me ask you, Kendall,
Okay.
should shared custody be the default arrangement? Meaning that automatic, like Maryland,
Yes.
should it automatically, when two parents break up,
50-50.
it should be 50-50 automatically?
And here's why. Okay. Here's why I think so, right?
Okay.
So, like how in the court, you are kind of like innocent until proven guilty. That should be the exact same type of thing, but for parenting. 50-50 until it's proven that you deserve less. or more. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
That's how I think it should
Fair
be.
enough.
And I feel like unless like beforehand they're going through criminal records, being like, oh, you have this charge, this charge, this charge, you are unfit to be a parent. Unless beforehand they're going through criminal records, it's
Oh,
50-50.
okay. So you're saying, just on the record, you're saying that anytime there's a custody case outside of all those extra stuff that you mentioned, that automatically the mom and the dad should get 50-50 custody.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you say, Dimitri?
Well, I want to, I want to get on her side with this, but here's the thing: who's stable and who ain't. See, you can automatically do
Mm.
that, but if the mother ain't stable, you know,
Well, all right.
do
So
you really want the kid
let me throw
and the
this in there
father
real quick.
stable?
So we're talking about if once a mother and a father go into court, right? When I said the default, that means without any other circumstances involved. Let's say all things are equal, right? Until they prove
Like they're
otherwise.
both they're both the stability is
Yeah.
good on both
All
ends.
things equal, yes. Walking into
Yeah.
court.
So if they're not stable, then like afterwards, it's like, okay, you can't have this much
Yeah.
custody because your house
Okay.
isn't stable.
Right.
Well, if you put it that way, then I'm gonna say, of course, equal.
Okay.
They should be equal.
50-50.
I feel like that's
50-50,
not.
yeah.
I feel like that's not even a question. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
I feel like that's not a tough one. That's not tough.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of people, mostly women, that believe that when you go into court, they should automatically get full custody.
They should
Automatically.
automatically get it. Yeah.
I birthed
I hear
I
that.
birthed this child. This child is mine, right? Until when it comes to child support, right? Now it's like, no,
Hot
no, you
take.
you made that child, so you need to pay, and
And
the
the
other
child's
time is mine,
yours.
right? So
Hot take. I feel like this. I feel like that's the same mindset where people have of like, oh, the guy should pay the tab 100% of the time. You know what I'm saying? I feel
okay,
like okay. I feel like that's kind of like the similar type of mindset.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that type of like misogyny. I don't like that. I,
Well,
because in my opinion, there's no one is the same type of person. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like everyone is different. So just because of like a certain society standard is saying X, Y, and Z, that doesn't mean that that fits that one person.
true,
You
facts.
know what I'm saying?
She's trying to find her soulmate on here.
No, no.
She, she's gonna have a lot of guys hitting her up in her DM. Watch.
All right, so
No.
all right, and with that said, now Dimitri, I know we all going to agree that they should get 50-50. Now, the
Right.
circumstances that come in after that, when it comes to mothers and fathers, I don't think that the fathers should be held to a higher standard to get that 50-50. Long as they can provide a safe environment, provide for whatever they need. Same thing with the mother. I think it should be totally 50-50. Now, obviously, the court's going to decide whether one parent is a fit parent, right? Not just more fit than the other, but just a fit parent. You might have a parent that goes in there and okay, well, hey, you know what? This parent doesn't work all the time. Should that be a factor? Even though you can
I
still
think that's
provide,
what I was thinking.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think the working thing should be a factor. As long as you can say I'm still providing for my child, they still have
Someone can still like not work all the ooh. Someone might not be working all the time, but they can still have like a certain amount of money. Like
exactly.
I know someone who basically owns their own business, like their own company, and their company at some points might go down, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because there's up days and down days. So at some points they might not be working that much, but they still have money set aside or money in general to be able to provide for themselves and other people.
Hmm.
So I don't think it's about how much you work. It's more about how much money you can make and how much you can afford to spend on other people. In
Okay.
this case, a child.
And here's another factor too is that all right, let's say a divorce guy, he goes in and he says, well, I'm not working. However, I'm with somebody who is working, right? That makes a difference.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to like me personally, when it comes to like if you have a parent or even both parents that have like a substance abuse problems, they have a history of domestic violence, then yeah, you got a history of domestic violence. Guess what? Your chances of getting your kids on a 50-50 basis is probably going to be a lot slimmer. Not saying that they, you might have issues with the mother, but never, being abusive with the kid. So those are the things you have to think about.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because I think you guys, I'm not sure if you guys know much about like the system when it comes to divorced parents,
Yes.
but
Been there.
do they, is it automatically scheduled for a review on your current on your situation like
You
monthly
mean
or something?
what the custody thing?
Mm-hmm.
So typically, what happens is if you go and you get divorced, now you can get around all of that if
Hmm.
you have an agreement. So you can have an agreement say,
I'm talking about like if it's not agreed. I
all right,
know
so
like the
okay,
agreement thing.
so
I'm
if
talking about if it's
if
not
there's no
agreed.
agreement, which makes everything more
Hmm.
difficult, and more expensive, you go into court and they're going to look at all these factors in there, and actually what you request. It's not always what they think you should get. Is what you request. So let's say you have a mother that goes in there, and I said she has issues, financial issues, whatever. She might say, okay, well, I'm gonna let, I would like for him to have, 60%, 70% time or custody, whatever, because she can't handle it. Or she might say, I can't handle it, you know, monetarily, but since I can't, I want him to pay to make sure I can. So that's where guys go berserk because, like, well, wait a minute. If you can't afford the kid, and I can, then the kid should stay with me. But the court may look at it as like, okay, well, she can't afford it. You can. You get paid this much money. She gets paid this much money. To make things equal, we're gonna give you 50-50 custody, but you're gonna pay X amount of dollars in child
At that
support.
point, just give the guy more custody. But
Some people think that. Some people believe that. Some people think that, okay, so
like I get it, like you want to spend time with like the parent. I feel like that's a big factor. Like, hey, the kid might want to spend time with the parent. You know
I
what I'm saying?
okay,
Have
you know
a
what?
bigger connection.
I'm glad you mentioned that too. So here's my thing on that.
I was actually gonna say that.
I don't think that
But
should factor because I'm gonna tell you why. You might have a kid or kids that may enjoy being with one parent, but that parent may not be good for those kids.
That's what I was about to say.
Hmm.
I was about to get to that because I was about to say like it might want to be like okay, like this person really wants to spend time with that parent, or it just might be good for the parent. I mean, for the kid developmental,
Hmm.
wise. But what I was trying to say earlier too was what if at one point that person can, afford to be or to take that kid in. And out of stubbornness, like if that you know how you made the example of oh well I have someone who is helping me provide.
Right.
What if that person leaves and they can't provide, but they still want that,
Oh, then
that
it could be
that
reviewed.
50/50.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it could still be. You can actually go back to court, and typically it doesn't change. But if one parent says, you know what, my kids over when they over the other parent's house, they're not being provided for, or they're in a
Right, but
safe unsafe environment, so they can take it back to
mhm.
court to make adjustments.
And then if it's still that 50, if it's still that 50/50, right? And as we were saying before, and let's say it's the woman, because like this is what the example that we're using right now.
Hmm.
It's the woman who can't afford it, and they're like, okay, give me more money because I need it. You know what I'm saying? At that point, you don't know what that mother is gonna use that money for. This is my take. You don't know what the mother is gonna use that money for. It could be a little bit used on the kids,
Hmm.
or it couldn't be. And either way, I know a lot of people who are in situations where it's like the parent that they're going to is not the more well-off parent,
Right.
and their house does not have a lot of food in it. It's kind of dumpy, you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And it's just it's not a good situation for them. So even if you're getting that child support, that person might not even be paying it. They might not pay it. So I feel like at that point, I feel like the custody should be increased for in this scenario the dad.
For the
You know what I'm
parent
saying?
with the dad with the more money.
Yes.
Mm.
let me ask you a question. What if it's a situation where, just say, just a kid, a couple, okay, a guy and a girl had a kid together, right?
Hmm.
So the mother, right, has a job, but she don't make that much money, right? But she tries and she's responsible and this and that, whatever, whole 9 yards.
Hmm.
But then the father is rich, lives with his parents because his parents got money. What do y'all the decision on that? What do you think should be more towards the mother because she's doing it on her own and she got her head on straight, this and that, or the father because he's secured around that money with his parents because he lived with his parents in a mansion and this and that.
Good
How would you
question.
do it?
I think that should be the mother, because what I was touching on was if the other party is irresponsible with that money. But for this one, like you're saying, if like the mother is, being responsible and is and most likely in this scenario would actually, use that money for good. And also for the dad, there's other people in the household which the kid may not be fully comfortable with. So I feel like
Mhm.
that there's a lot more factors that go into that than just um
Right. He
this
be living
one's
with
more
his
rich.
grandparents basically
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
because
but
the kid what I was saying was the guy that's living with his parents,
right.
but the parents are wealthy, rich. So what I'm saying is there's a click that there's a light switch you have to click on to say
Hmm.
what you're going to choose because this guy he's surrounded with the money. So if something happens, at least they got the money to take care of the kid. Over here, she's got her head on straight. The mother's got her head on straight, but there's possible she could get laid off from the job. She don't make that much, but she's very responsible. She's a good mother, this and that. Then what do you do?
So typically, how it works is, if the mother is a capable mother, forget the money part, she's gonna get her 50%, right?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the
Hmm.
father is
Okay.
is a capable, when I say capable, there's no hazards to the child, right? This is a capable father. He's gonna get his
Right.
50%. Now, the support is not gonna be based on what the father's family has. It's gonna be what you have. Like, say if that guy that guy has no money, like, but he still has a stable home, food, a whole nine, doing everything he can, and he's getting it from his parents, right? They're gonna look at what this guy is getting. What does he make, and then what does the mother make? So the mother might say, they might say, well, okay, well, the mother makes 40,000 a year. She's still struggling. 40,000 a year. He makes 10,000 a year. The mother is going to pay him a little bit extra because that's how it goes. However,
Right.
I think if you get 50-50, I get 50-50, then it is what it is. If I make more money, should not have anything to do with what you make. That's what I make. That's fine. As long as I'm taking care of my kid, you're taking care of your kid. I don't think every time I get more money, I have to give you more money. Now, as a parent, what you should be doing, I think, this is my personal opinion, as a parent, if I'm making extra money, I should be doing more for my children. Not saying I have to give her the money, but I should be doing more for the kids as far as making sure that they have a safe environment. You would want to as a parent. They're in a safe environment. They have proper health care. They have food on the table. If she's struggling, and let's say I don't have no money, no job, but I have rich parents, I should be the one to say, okay, you know what? They're over here and they're being taken care of 50% of the time. But let me see what I can do to make sure that when they with you, they're get around the same amount of care, whatever. So that's what I think
Because
personally
like
should happen.
at the end of the day, right? Your beef should not be with the mom, you know what I'm saying? Like
Correct.
you shouldn't be doing things out of spite, because at the end of the day, like you're there to provide for your kids. You're there to make sure that your kids have a good life even with that separation, and like to make sure like there's not a big, change in how like they're being cared for.
All right.
Because I like that's gonna make it worse for your kids, and that's selfish. That's yeah.
Okay. So my question to you guys next, right? We're talking about marriage, and when it comes to fathers, um, how can fathers actually remain involved after divorce? It's not. This is an easy question, but I want to hear what you
Oh
guys got to
yeah.
say. How can they
That's
remain involved after divorce?
uh at least what I like, the small things that I know that my dad did.
Mm-hmm.
You like like come over, bring, some snacks, go out, you know what I'm saying, to eat. I'm a foodie. Anyways, go out to eat, or even just like plan events, like around someone's schedule, you know what I'm saying? Like just do things that like you can bond with and
Okay.
like just don't be a
Quality
wall.
quality time.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Uh, I would say, I would say a combination of what she's saying, quality time, and being investing in that kid's
Mm-hmm.
future, or what?
Yes.
Like what?
Because
Like how?
you're a perfect example. Like their college,
Okay.
their what school they're going to go to, what are they taking? Like you invest in their future.
Mm-hmm.
You stand around, and also handling things that mommy ain't gonna be able to do.
Exactly. I'm glad you
Like
mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned
so,
that. But I agree.
if
Also,
she need
oh sorry.
if she need like just say she need books or for school, college or something like that. Mommy's taking care and doing all the other stuff, this and that. But she's low key not telling you because y'all divorced and that. She still wants to look like she's doing that. What the kid tells you, you communicate with your kid. You keep that great relationship
Mm,
still with your kid.
Mm-hmm.
They let you know, hey, this is going on, blah 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 blah. Okay, that's there. That steps in, this and that, and then just like all of the other things, the relationship wise that they're gonna need from you that she can't give. You
Mm-hmm.
have to still be there.
Right. I
You have
agree.
to still, So, like girls with boys. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be there for your daughter for that. She's going to ask you, Dad, my decision. I might want to go to North Carolina State, or I'm thinking about doing this. And, what, you can help her and give her the best advice and give her the best guidance to the best school to probably, because the mother might not know. She might just whatever's paid for, whatever. You know what I mean? Like the man is there to give the qualities that the things that she can't do.
The
It's not going to
intangibles.
mm,
right,
Okay.
right.
Now
So
I
they're going to
agree.
need that.
I agree with what both of you said. Both of you said, and it's really not more to add to that. Just they can be active in their lives, having that quality time, going to school, knowing what their kids are going through in school, and being involved in that. That means taking them to appointments, medical appointments, dental appointments, haircuts, all of those things that you would normally do. Now I'm gonna say it easy like this: do all the things you normally would do if you were still together. That's how they can do it. There's nothing. There's no reason that they can't, unless something you have some extenuating circumstances like you know, I'm working down in Florida and I'm a truck driver and all this other type of stuff. Then that's a little bit different. But when you can get in there and still be a father. So, but I want to talk about this one thing. And this is have you heard of you know, minus the individual unless you go down like okay, and that happens too. But have you guys heard of toxic masculinity?
oh yeah.
Right, all right. So some
Bro,
people
that's so
have
gay.
some. That's a good example. So, just for those who don't know what it is, toxic masculinity refers to cultural norms and this is the key, exaggerated stereotypes of manhood that promote aggression, emotional suppression, and dominance. And they say it harms men by discouraging vulnerability and medical care and harms others through misogyny, entitlement, and violence. Okay, so that's what toxic masculinity is. Now, I have a debate with that. So,
A high sense of control, I'm guessing.
no, not control. All right. I'm gonna give you a perfect example.
I mean, a higher rate of it. A high
No,
rate of it.
no, it has nothing to do with control. I'm gonna give you an example of what they say toxic masculinity is. Right. Let's say your wife, every time she gets a headache, or the kids say do you have a headache, or they get a scratch, she runs to the bathroom, washes off their wound, puts Band-Aid on there, some Neosporin, gives them some Tylenol, and all that other type of stuff, right? So she does that with the daughter. The son gets the same thing, right? And the father says, "Man, just rub some
You don't
dirt on
need
it.
that.
Stop being a pussy." right? Be a man. You don't need no band-aid. Go rub some dirt on it, whatever. Be a man, right? So they would consider that toxic masculinity because that's an over exaggeration of what being, a macho man is, right? Yeah,
Right.
men go to the doctor, and that's true because some men just don't go to doctors. They feel oh, I can handle it. Why I need to go to the doctor? Blah blah blah. And women be quick to
In
go to the
general, I
doctor.
feel like toxic masculinity is how I would describe it is when a man is like over insecure and over perceptive of their own masculinity to the point where it just becomes overdone and
Give
it's
me an
like
example.
all you're thinking about. Okay. Let me think. Putting me on the spot. Let me think. Um, I mean, I feel like one of them I talked about earlier though was like I think it's similar to what you're saying though. It's like the idea of not being able to talk about your emotions, but let me exaggerate that to the point where like let's say you go to your friends, right?
Hmm.
Oh, I had a terrible day at work, my boss did X, Y, and Z. Like it makes me so like I feel sad about X. Oh, really? You feel sad? And then just like going like, oh, that's kind of gay. What? Like, why are you telling me this? I'm not you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
All right. So okay.
Or here's a good example too. My example, you walking around, you buy some good cologne, and like, man, you wear cologne, man. I just walk around, take a shower. You a man? We a man, man. I'm
Right.
just walking
Right.
around. Ain't no
if
damn
if you don't
cologne.
get that
But
24 and 1,
yeah, like they don't,
Okay. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Are you ever anybody ever heard of the comedian Bill Burr?
no,
yeah.
Right.
I
The
haven't.
So
white guy, white comedian.
yes. So he had this special, and it was one of the funniest specials ever. So he was saying that why men die earlier than women because we always pressured into suppressing our feelings. Like we want to, you want to hug a puppy or whatever, or they'll say, you're going outside and you got an umbrella. What are you, a fag? That type of deal. He was going over that, and that's typically,
God forbid a man cries at a sad movie.
oh,
Like,
exactly. Stop crying, you big pussy. But that's in Dimitri. That's how growing up. That's how it was. You get hit in the
Yeah,
head. You get hit in the head with a baseball. Man up. Get whatever, whatever. So
yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
is. But anyway, some people believe masculinity is unfairly criticized. I'm one. I do believe masculinity is unfairly criticized. Others argue that harmful behaviors need to be challenged. The discussion often become polarized, and that should be a topic in itself. Masculinity. I don't even like the term toxic masculinity because I think it's used too often, too blanketed for things that really doesn't qualify. But my question to you, I'm gonna go with Kendall on this one because she's the female on here. Has
oh,
masculinity been unfairly demonized?
uh, explain,
Okay,
like I
so
feel like there's
when we talk about
open-ended, too
masculinity,
open-ended.
like when I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, hey, I'm not gonna go get this checked out because it's just pain. I can handle it. I'm a man. I'm supposed to be able to handle that, right? Or um, again with the umbrella, I'm not wearing no umbrella. I can get wet. I'm a man. This is what men do. We ain't worried about that umbrella's for you. You take that. Or well, here's where the toxic part comes in too. Like, I'm not cooking. That's your job. I'm a man. We don't do that. I'm out. We can go out there and chop the wood and
All right.
go
Here's
go choke a
here's my
rabbit.
take. I feel like, in my opinion, it's not demonizing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like,
You say it's not demonized or not
yeah,
unfairly demonized because it's definitely
it's not.
demonized.
Because okay, let me explain what I mean. Like, I'm trying to find the words. So
Mm-hmm.
like, at least for what we don't care if you're masculine. Like there's different things to like that make someone masculine. But it's when you're doing things like, oh, I can't cook, because that's the woman's job,
Mm-hmm.
or I can't cry because it's like it's just kind of sad because of like all these standards and stuff that like society has like kind of like it feels like a divide, you know what I'm saying? It feels like it feels like people have to put on a show for masculinity instead of actually being masculine. And I
Oh,
feel like for
That's
that it becomes
that is a perfect example. I'm glad you said that. The crying thing. Now,
and
my question to this is what I would throw back at you.
mhm.
What woman wants a man that every time something happens, they crying all the damn time? Who wants that? Who? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you straight up. You can call it toxic masculinity if you want, whatever. But if I'm with one of my friends or my brothers, and every time they get into an argument or every time they get into a problem, they sitting up there crying like a old woman. Perfect
Wait,
example,
no,
right?
pause for a second. Wait. Pause for a second.
Okay.
Because what man wants a woman who's also crying for every small little thing?
No, we
So like
expect it.
that kind,
We expect it. No man
huh?
cares. No
We
man cares
expect
about that. We expect that.
we expect that.
Yeah, we in our
Right,
head we think that that's what a woman does. They're emotional. They're emotional creatures. They're gonna cry
right.
every time because you didn't say what you didn't give her the compliment that she wanted. And she said, "Oh, you don't love me
All
no
right,
more."
here's my take, okay? Here's my take. I feel like one, naturally,
Mm-hmm.
women have more emotional intelligence, if that makes sense. Emotional
They're
like
more in tune with their
the
feelings.
ability, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And I feel like they show it more. I feel like men just bottle it. Like y'all feel the exact same emotions, y'all just don't show it.
I
And
agree.
that kind of goes into the point of I kind of see what you're saying, but there has to be a balance. Like for at least for a lot of women, they don't really want a guy who's constantly crying, who's constantly being overly emotional because usually in my opinion, men's emotion kind of like translates into like more like a violent type of a way instead of actually like a just a sad type of way. I don't know how to explain it, but that's just my
Well,
opinion. But anyways,
I agree with you
but
when you
even if
said.
it's not in a violent way.
I agree with you. Said we go through the same amount of emotions, but here's the thing: there's
Mhm.
always a balance. And I said men are not women, women are
I
not
was
men.
I
Right?
was just about to get to that too.
Yeah.
It was like more of like a more of a balance where like women kind of expect men to, well, yes, you can show emotion to also be like more level headed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
So I
let's say
feel
in a
like
circumstance, give me a circumstance right here. Women want men to be more emotional, whatever. But somebody breaking into the house, you know what?
wait,
This
did you not hear what I said? I said level headed. Like
well,
we
yeah,
want men to be more level headed,
level
meaning if someone's breaking into the house, I'm expecting the man to go and do something about it instead of crying. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly,
if something's happening at work where you're upset, you know what I'm saying? I also expect for you to be able to show that emotion, which
exactly
is why
by
I'm saying there
by
needs
flipping
to
over
be
a
a
table.
balance. No, by coming to me and just being like, yo, like, I had a really hard day. Can we talk about it? Can we sit and relax?
Ain't no
You
man
know what
gonna
I'm
do
saying?
that.
Like something like that.
Ain't no man gonna do
Exactly, and
that.
that sucks.
So here's the
That
thing.
sucks.
Here's where the
Because
debate
then you're
comes
gonna
in.
bottle it. It
No, but
sucks.
here's where the debate comes in.
Yeah.
Women expect men to communicate as they communicate. We have our own ways of communication. You have your own ways of communication. So if we don't
Hmm.
communicate on your level, they say, "Oh, you're that's toxic masculinity. You can't cry." No, who wants to go around crying all the time? No, nobody
Explain.
wants to do that.
Wait. Give me an example.
Give an
Give me an
example. All right,
example.
so if let's say woman comes home and she says, "Oh, such and such passed away today," and she's tearing up. Okay, we gonna comfort her or whatever. And let's say it was a mutual friend, but we're not gonna sit there and just sit there. We both sitting there, big bawling, crying, tears, snot running down your nose. We're not doing that. The man is gonna go in and he's gonna kick in. He's gonna be the comforter at that time, or he's gonna say some things that need to be said, like okay, to not minimize the situation, but kind of put things in perspective that it's not the end of the world, right? Versus a man who comes in and says, "Oh my God, we all gonna die." Oh yeah, whatever, whatever. Nobody needs that. And I'm gonna say, even with my, if I
I'm
have
not
a
gonna
son,
lie, like a lot of times women kind of prefer, like not like a baller, but like if a man can kind of cry with a woman, sometimes it's just like, yo, like it shows that you're actually like listening. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I feel like sometimes you don't gotta be Mr. Tough Guy all the time. You know what I'm
that
saying?
I
Like you
Do
agree.
you
really
feel
don't. At least
do you feel like when if a man show his emotions, it puts trust more towards the woman of trusting him when he shows
honestly,
his
yeah.
actual emotion?
I feel like
I
when
think
like a
that's what
man
she's
can show
trying to
his
get at.
emotions, it kind of like gives like it kind of adds a bond. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
think I
we're
think of
like
A
Walls
woman,
are broken.
a woman who wants a man who's just as emotional as her, as she is,
I didn't say just as
or
emotional.
even
That's not what
close
I
to
was
being
saying.
emotional as she is, wants a woman. That's it.
Oh, this is toxic.
he
You
got
know,
he got he
you're
that's a
talking about
he
toxic
gonna
masculinity, but you're an
That's
example.
not. I don't think that's toxic. I think the fact is that men need to be men, women need to be women, and sometimes men can cry. I'm not saying men can't cry, but there's a time and place. You do that.
time and place for it.
Yeah, you do that. There's a time and place for that. Um, and I'm saying I'm not. I'm not. You
This is
know,
why the man
I
suicide heights. I
I.
mean, suicide rates are so high. Like,
All right. Let's move on from there. All right. So, um, getting to that. What do you? And this is Father's Day program. What traits define a good father? What traits define a good father?
you want to go
I
first?
was I would say responsibility,
Okay, a responsible
uh,
father. Okay,
responsibility. I would say embodying the kid's future.
well, you
I
mean
would
like
say
who has a drive to make who want their kids to
what
thrive.
no, embodying the kid's future, like you invested in your kid's future, like you taking it serious on
Okay,
what they're gonna
I
do with
got
their
you.
life
Okay,
going forward.
got you.
And just providing 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 for your family,
Okay, so
for your
you said
kids.
a provider, um, a man, a father that takes who invests
Responsible,
in their kid's future, and somebody who's responsible.
right.
Okay, okay. What about you, Kendall?
I feel like I feel like what makes a good father is someone who knows like time, like first time and place, you know what I'm saying? A father who has like a level head, you know what I'm saying, and knows when to joke around and knows when to be strict.
Okay,
Because I feel like sometimes those lines kind of get blurred with fathers.
so you said a
Um,
father should one of the traits should be a disciplinarian.
mhm.
Okay,
Um,
and what was the first
I
thing you
also
said?
feel like level headed.
Level headed. Okay, okay,
Um, I feel like another thing, because I feel like all of because like okay, what I really wanted to say in general, because like for what I'm trying to say too, is that men, like fathers in general, supply so much like emotional development for their child. Um, and what I mean by this is like for women at least, like they provide more like the emotional like knowing like the empathy, the care, the softness, but I feel like men provide toughness. So I feel like one major thing when it comes to like being a father is that you should be able to be like stern, be able to like tell the kid to rub dirt on it. You know what I'm saying? Like having that type of direction in parenting without being rude, like without being insensitive is very important for development.
okay. That sounds good. So one of the things, and I like some of the things that you both said. So as a father, some of the traits I think of being a father, and I'm gonna use myself for example, and I'm gonna say where I come up short. So even with my kids, I think I might have even been more of a nurturer than their mother, just in how I communicated with them. I was the parent who was less likely to yell and to explain certain
That's also
things,
kind of good though.
right?
Like having, I feel like, sorry,
No, good
I feel like being a nurturer is really good for a father.
for a father.
Being
Yeah.
able to be calm, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like saying everything I can like that's what I meant by level-headed, you know what I'm saying? Like being someone
Okay.
almost like getting gang, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, giving you
Because
some stability.
right, because like you want I feel like okay, this is just my personal experience. When it comes to mothers and fathers, I feel like fathers are more likely to, well, in my case, to be like more calm, more
I'm
in my case,
I'm telling
in my
it.
case, and and mothers are more likely to be emotional, yell a lot more, and like kind of be like a little bit more like rocky, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I feel like a lot of times men need to be like that rock.
Okay.
And yeah, that's my
So
take.
You look.
so
Oh,
in my case, like I said, going back to the traits, you have to be a provider. That's that men
Yes.
have basically three things in a relationship, right? You have to be a provider, you have to be a protector, and you have to be a leader, right? So as a father, those are the three things that you actually need. Now with the kids, you have to also have, and I guess it's part of being a leader too. You have to be a goal setter, right? You have to be a disciplinarian. And when I say disciplinarian, you don't have to, I don't believe you have to be, yell and scream and curse and all that other type stuff and be non emotional. In my case, I was I think, and they might say something, the other half might say something different, but I think I was the more of the nurturer, say, hey, this is how things work. How was this? Such a, I'm the talker, I'm not the yeller. I'm not gonna, whatever. But there's times for that too. So I think those are the same things that you would be as a husband. You need to be as a father and be a nurturer and then a goal setter for your kids. Those are good traits, I think. Let me tell you one of the big ones. You have to be an example to what you want your kids to be or have. In that case, I want my son to look at me and say, you know what? My dad provided. My dad took us on trips. My dad did X, Y, D. My dad did this. My dad did that. And for my daughter to say, oh, my dad did this. My dad did this. And this is how she wants her husband or future husband or whatever it
I
is
was just about to say
to
that.
be,
Like,
right? I don't want
would
to.
you like?
I don't want to be that person
Sorry.
who's going to say that my kids are going to, you know, be in a bad way or gravitate in a bad way, which often
Hmm.
happens in family situations.
Like, would
with that
you?
being said, do you think that
Oh,
caused the my bad? Do you think
you're
that
fine.
caused a lot of the opposite of daddy issues? Like the girl, like what you just said, far as you want them to look at your daughter say, I want my man to be just like my father is. That's the imprint of a husband or whatever.
Exactly.
I want him to be like that to his kids or whatever. So when they don't get that, it causes daddy issues.
Exactly. So the
Mhm.
daddy
I feel like,
issues the daddy issues come in when they didn't get that the things that the daddy should have or should have been, and you have dysfunction. So when they get into a relationship, the guy who comes in and wants to be that father, uh that husband, whatever, and he can't be, or he has a problem being it because she didn't know her place or didn't know, you know, what's expected of a father or a husband. So that's when the daddy issue comes in. Daddy wasn't around. She expects that the husband's not going to be around, or the daddy was abusive. Now she
it also
expects that.
matters where how you're raised too,
Oh,
though.
absolutely,
Like,
absolutely,
and who you grew up around. Because
yeah.
like for me, I did not really grow up with like that much of a father, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
I grew up with a father, but he's dead. So
mm,
I didn't really grow up with like a lot like with my father in my like high school years, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like also who you're around, social media, and also just like being able to know what's right from wrong is a very good like it's good for like at least women trying to pick out who they should let in their lives. At the same time, some people don't get that. Some people, because I'm from a middle class area, so some people who may be from poorer areas may not see um the type of man that they should be around. And also, what I was trying to say like earlier was that I feel like a lot of times with women they do like what you're saying too, they do gravitate towards men who are similar to what their fathers were doing or less. And which is why I was saying like if any fathers watching this, you know what I'm saying? Like please if you are with somebody, treat that person right. behind the scene, like behind your kid's back and in front of your kid's back, because that's gonna show them who they should gravitate towards. If you have a good relationship, show them like what they should expect,
Okay,
opening
well,
doors for
I have a
somebody,
question for you
all the
then.
other stuff.
This is for you
Yeah.
specifically. Knowing
Okay.
what you just said, do you think that, well, do you think that you're going to look or attract a guy or get connected to a guy who is like your father? And if
Oh
not,
no.
if, okay,
Sorry.
no. So if not, how do you, knowing the statistics, how do you prevent that from happening?
Um, I feel like okay, so there's like two sides to it, right? So the thing of like people who like okay, this is what I'll say. This kind of like it's kind of different, but I think it kind of goes hand in hand. When you're raised by parents, right? And your parents might not have been the best, and you're like, okay, or they're very good, but they do things that like you would not do to your kids, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that can go hand in hand with relationships. Like, okay, your parent, like you see your parents fighting every day. You see that they're doing X, Y, and Z that clearly isn't working out. So you just choose not to go with people who have those exact same signs or similar signs
But
that your parents have.
psychologically, sometimes it just connects, and that's why they do it.
I
So
mean, not for me.
not for you.
I
So you
ain't.
basically you're gonna set clear lines, red lines in the sand,
Yeah.
clear boundaries that hey, if you do these things that I saw growing up, you're going to be basically eliminated from any type of candidacy.
Right. Because like in general, I feel like what people should look for is respect. If they respect you. And also, okay, here's a take I've had for all of my friends. Is I think it kind of goes like hand in hand. A take I've had for all of my friends. People say it's kind of bad, but you know what? I don't care, right? If you are trying to be with somebody, I I feel like you shouldn't be intimate with them until like 3 months, like after like 3 months. And the reason why
3 months.
is because I know, but still, the reasoning why,
Should
like
be
you can be intimate with whenever, but like the
should be
reason why
three
is that
years.
oh, um,
3 months.
typically men have like a period of um, like being the best they can possibly be. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
having basically no flaws.
before you see the real
Hmm.
them.
Exactly. And I feel like also after you just give something away, well, not giving it away, but after you let that person share part of you, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, giving
Like
away. You was right. Go ahead.
they they kind of I feel like they won't feel mentally as obligated to butter up to you
I agree.
and be this, that, and the other, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's best to wait because to actually see how someone is without this trying to sugar bait, like oil and butter you up and
Right.
act like the best person in the world, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. So that's what you look. You have your defined things or traits that you are looking for in a man, based on what you knew of your father, and the bad ones you're going to say, okay, let me filter those out.
Hmm.
And then part of that would be not to give yourself away until
Not
you
to let them share part of me.
bingo. Okay, okay. So let me ask you something. Do you feel, because this is going to be about deadbeat dads versus fathers that were pushed away, right?
Uh-huh.
So not every absentee father abandoned his children voluntarily. We already know that. We always hear people say, "Oh, you abandoned your kids." No, not voluntarily. Some cite financial hardship, like Dimitri said, relationship conflict, as we all know, and some legal barriers. Others argue that regardless of the circumstances, fathers must stay involved. Now, my question to you in today's, from what your perception is, are deadbeat dads the exception or is that the norm today?
I think that's the norm.
That's the norm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like again, as I said, most of my friends either had deadbeat dads, their dad is dead, their dad is not around because of you know, issues with like the parents and stuff or something like that, or their parent, or it's like long distance. You know, what I'm saying is most of my friends' dads are not really around, right? So I feel like that's kind of now the norm. I feel like, and I don't want to like push on stereotypes, but it's really the norm in Black communities. I
Okay. Well, statistics support that. But let me ask you something. What responsibilities can never be abandoned?
loving your kid, like
Okay.
I feel like like I don't even want to like say that's a responsibility. I feel like that's just something that you should be doing regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like if you want to love your kid, don't have kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I feel like another responsibility, I think we've already touched on it, was giving things monetarily. I'm not saying that like, oh yeah, give your child a PS4. And like that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying financial stuff that's a need. Please, give that.
That can be
Um,
abandoned. It's abandoned all the time.
I know. I feel like it shouldn't be. Like, you
Shouldn't
asked
I
me
said?
like what
Well,
shouldn't be
what
abandoned.
responsibilities can never be abandoned? Not saying shouldn't be
Oh,
abandoned. Can never be
okay,
abandoned.
okay. Um, I don't even know. I
Um,
feel like most of it can
I
get
would say
abandoned.
Yeah, I would say it too.
I would I would say never be abandoned is taking care of your family.
That's abandoned
When
all
But
the
they
it
time.
does get abandoned. It
Hmm.
gets abandoned anyways.
uh,
And this is a trick question because I think
Giving birth.
responsibilities can always be abandoned, and they usually are. They usually are. Some things that, society may mandate and say, hey, you didn't want to do X, Y, and Z, but guess what? We're going to make you do X, Y, and Z, and that's really the only thing that they can mandate is the financial
And
aspect.
even then they don't do it
Even
either
then, they
way.
don't
So
exactly,
it
exactly. So
so
okay,
then if that's the case, with that being said, I would say child support.
okay, and like I said, and that's hard to do
You can't
sometimes
never
too.
be abandoned.
But like I said, so
fertilizing the egg.
that's how society can hold an absent
That's
fathers
the only
accountable.
thing.
Only thing they can do is hold them accountable by child support. Would you say yes or no?
It's no.
There's other ways they can make them accountable.
No, I'm saying like there's really no way. Like
No
because
way.
like I feel like if someone is gonna try and be unaccountable, they're gonna find a way to be unaccountable. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So like there's been like I had a friend who's like, mind you, like they're like 17, right?
Hmm.
And their dad never paid child support ever, like maybe like twice, and like
There's
they're
many out there.
so I feel like
Mm.
again you can't make someone be accountable. There's going to be unaccountable anyways. So I feel like for this question, nothing. Like that's it. Like there's
Okay.
literally nothing
So
that
I,
someone
I
can do.
think I think you still can accept because I'm gonna tell you why there's this exceptions because you can't you can't make somebody pay child support if they don't have the money to pay child support. They don't have the job. You can all that stuff just stacks up until one day they say, you know what, you going to jail if you don't pay this money. You know, so either way, I think that's something that they can do. A lot of times, I don't even think it's fair. A lot of times, but hey, it is what it is. Now, my final question would be of part two of this very interesting conversation is can a father rebuild trust after years away? Now, I'm going to ask you both this, and I'm going to tell you what mine is because I think we've all had that situation where we had a father that lost trust or was away for long periods of time, and then, you know, maybe or maybe not came back into that to our lives. So, going with Dimitri, you think a father can rebuild trust after being years away?
Yes,
Why?
because me speaking for myself, I focus on what have you done for me lately, because whatever he happened in the past, he can do right now. Whatever he didn't do in the past, he can do
You
right
could do right
now.
now. Okay.
Your life is set right now.
Right.
So it's like the relationship you didn't have in the past, you don't trust them for all those years. Well, you can build that trust by bonding with each other, by spending time with each other, by talk. You could do that right now.
Okay. You
It's
can.
not erased off the face of the planet.
Okay.
So that's why I say yes, they can get that trust
And that's from
and
your
that
personal
the,
experience.
the, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Kendall, from your personal experience, can a father rebuild trust after years away?
Well, first of all, in my personal experience, my father had never spent like years away. He always wanted to call, right?
Okay.
So I would have to say experience from other people, right?
Hmm.
And it's kind of complicated, right? Because you can build trust, but I feel like it'll take a while. You can build respect, it'll take a while. I
Okay.
think at the end of the day, like you can be 10 years together, your child is still gonna have the experience or the memory of, okay, this guy was still gone for X amount of time, you know what I'm saying? Could he leave again? Or the thing of this guy was gone for a while, for a long time. I have a good relationship with him now, but I didn't have it before, and then kind of have like that kind of like gap, you know what I'm saying? Like there will kind
Okay.
of always be like that gap there. So while you can still build trust, there's still always going to be that gap of like what it could have been.
Okay.
That's my
I think
opinion.
that's going along with Dimitri said. Now, what brings to mind for me is that I don't know if you guys seen Fresh Prince of Bel Air when Will's father finally came into his life and rebuilt all this, was doing all these different things and was starting to plan on this and that, whatever came in and changed everything, good or bad, changed everything. And then all of a sudden, he had an excuse and then walked right back out of his life. So I think they can, and I think it depends on what are the circumstances surrounding your years away. Is it because of your behavior? Did you go to jail? Did you decide you wanted to just deal with another family, or were you just being reckless? So I think it all depends on the reasons why you went away. But that's interesting. We're gonna follow this up with the society thing. Questions about does society celebrate mothers more than fathers? And I already know the answer to that. Can a father be too strict? And what makes a great father? Now we're gonna end it with what makes a great father, because we're really talking about Father's Day. But yeah, today's word of the day is going to be deadbeat. That's one word, deadbeat. If you get that and you send it in at the end of the month with all the things, all the words of the day, you'll email it to unfiltered.psycho4081@gmail.com, and you'll get an opportunity to win a prize. So get those in and follow, share, see us on social media, do the whole nine. And thank you for joining in. We'll catch you at the next one.
Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Unfiltered with Psycho 4081. Big respect to our guests for keeping it real, and love to every listener rocking with us week after week. This conversation ain't over yet. Stay locked in for the next episode coming soon. Until next time, keep it unfiltered with Psycho 4081.